当个的节小节上中，人家们的节风景吧，世界龙波大不几百，小节节不叫东个叫做，多见讲解的罗那罗当，马巴马拉节节刚波巴，巴马这巴节完这刚。感觉了马南街大街街，到那在了。他们觉得老马老爸老爷就是说，老三样对讲说啊，老王盯着东京这白给来说。哎呀，他你把这个。这年就节当啊，们说吧，都没节日不去了，年底几把那新的车上，他这跟公妈他们几个年就这当啊他们去等你当啊的是错当啊的是了推你推当啊推吧的说。Teni ser ranju le jarne o ta nyamni nangu go yore teni tanda ma je ne teni yinda ge che ringne chungza kha tanda la teni bechor chembo che tanda che de na ta chuba je gon hie na teni te ndge yo mari son re chertang ta hibzu yundi hi go ya de gar chembo re wa te lakpar de dangwa de minga de so 희고리 희바데 텐데 냠리 난거 요로와
So gong ta ya po ko ma song dang po drup ta gong drup ta ya drup
ni ba de wa drup ta nin ju je dang nga man so
One second. I have to just close the window. Just one moment. Okay, Gongta. Dini yang nipa. Okay, nipa de yang cha chi song what na?
Ta ni ba de zhe ni ju je dang a men server.
Oh, okay.
Dang a men server du mi je ri bu chu la nin din ji ba ne hin de chor song. Ta zhe de go ma dam je ge dang a yo wa. De ni dang a de so chor de zo de tu sam ji de ni nyam ni nang go yo ri song. Ta den ra ma je ba de ni ring ni cheng chung a den ra la pang gong khor song na. Teni ndege yo mari sonre.
Okay. So then number 2 says, not searching for the traditional instructions of the siddhas, but to look for pointless intellectual dharma is extremely bewildered or very confused. It is a mistake for the practitioner. So an alternate translation would be not to rely on an excellent. That's it. We don't have an alternate. The great Mahasiddhas, the great siddhas of the past, held in an abundance of profound pith instructions through having engaged in extensive hearing, contemplation, and meditation. So to not seek out these instructions from that are passed down orally from those who have a direct experience and realization, and instead to put great importance upon the qualities that come about through learning and intellectual study, to only focus on gathering an abundance of knowledge through intellectual study is a confusion.
Jagan Papu Yorna, Tsuna, Trupchin Saraha, Telopa, Naropa, Telasoba, Deni Bu Ganjing, Bu Ganji Jonan Tsuna, Deni Marpa, Mila, Taraka Juba, Yigavishubaina, Deni Gampopa, Tatarandi, Lamchorum, Bochin Tua, the son Tamjeta, Ko Dama Chak Yorwa. Matsola Kasa Gudo Goya Kedama.
So the great siddhas, or the accomplished masters of the past, there were those of India, from the noble land of India, such as Saraha, and of course Tilopa and Naropa, and then many throughout the land of snow in Tibet, Marpa, Milarepa, all of our Kagyu, the masters, the great masters of our own Kagyu lineage, Gampopa. So these are pith instructions. When we rely upon such teachings, then this is what is meant by the pith instructions.
Then Tarapena Gampopa Lamchor in Chintuan Dena, the Daman Chod Jabarindo. Tenitang Taraka Juba Yigat in Heki or Retini, Chuju Yimbatam Jala Teta Teta Voketama. Thanks, Apo Yorwa.
So, for instance, the text that we're studying here together, the Garland, the precious Garland of the Supreme Path, these by Gampopa, these are all. This is itself considered to be a really extraordinary and supreme collection of profound pith instructions. And likewise, there are many collections of pith instructions that come from many great masters across the traditions.
Nisambate, Nawan, Tarshala, Mitzi, Jibzi, Mizi, Baratin, to Duzi, Shomra Jao, Chibani, Hindon Torson. Da Gandar and Dick Absukarisung and Debo Jimachi, Mao, Bandumasene. Tata Kangdo, Tata Keko, now a cancer, Ting on the Jong, Ting on Jo, Mataba Gomna, Tigani Gom. Tata Dachi go Yurison, Lopper to Tsindela. Himbala Sobapane, the Nigava Drogo only. Tandama Jane, the Nibe co Lotontan, Tontagan, Netupak Zoptanda, Chena, Tandachena, the Nichubak non Terison.
So the third one says, not being happy and content with whatever we've got at the moment, but trying more and more to get the things required for one's material happiness is a mistake for a practitioner. An alternate translation would be not to be content with whatever appears in the present moment, and to make extensive preparations for the future based on the assumption that things will remain the same is an extreme point of confusion for the practitioner. So the advice here then is to be present with whatever whatever arises in one's present experience, without following after the past, without chasing after the future, to meditate on impermanence, or with an awareness of impermanence, to sustain the practice, especially with a little attachment or fixation to the limited concerns of this life, to focus only on continuing in the practice of virtue, without making extensive plans for things that may or may not come in the future.
con cái lỗ mà chỉ cái con mande bờ con hiu đó ta chỗ chỉ rằng duyên bộ cái số hiệu chỉ sao mà đấy gì thế nên chỉ rằng cái hiện tại được ta gom giá gọi về suy đề mari xong đó thế nên thứ sáu chỉ gọi về suy đề mari xong đó ona kare chỉ gọi suy đề khoa trên được lưu thông xong đó ta chú ba cái làm tạm bol hiong được trên được là trái yên bằng cái thế ta nên cái nào tạm bol trả được rồi
Gong thang ya po ko ma song.
Chỗ cái không có lo mà chỉ là không có lo mà chỉ cái chỗ là suy ba đấy cái này hiểu là thế thì chỗ nhung để sao nhung này nhung làm nó có gì na để sao ba thế nên ta chỗ duyên bộ là cái sự bộ dục sa mari thế nên lo mà cái hiểu ta ta chỗ cái hiện tại de ngã cái chỉ gọi gom giá gọi
Nga cái chỉ go.
nghe cái chỉ gọi gom giá gọi hiểu de maris
Da ha ko song.
thứ sáu chỉ gọi maris
Da ha ko song. Se de lu tong go. Yeah. So, Pardon Atisha, who was, when he was ill, when he was quite sick, one of his students, one of his disciples asked him, what, if you will not stay for a long time, it appears, so what should I do once you're gone, Rebe? And should I meditate? Should I engage in study, contemplation, and meditation? And Atisha said, you should simply abandon attachment to this life. So the most important thing to do at first is to abandon attachment and grasping to this life, to the concerns of this life. Rebe.
Teni yebate rang chipur chuje tola mesembar kormang kenana chuhye jiban hindon torso ta soso nevin bala de chuhyama drumne ta teta me jibar teni kormang bo de loma ma bo de teni tam hinda rewa chine ta tendra chipate teni trovaris.
So then number 4 says, not knowing what is the meaning of Dharma, and while not living alone for practicing Dharma oneself, but to teach to gatherings is a mistake for a practitioner. And then an alternate translation would be not to think about Dharma while living alone, but to teach it in the midst of others is extremely bewildered. So, as the advice before has continually to be to seek out a place in solitude, to stay in solitary places and to quietly practice the Dharma. So to not do this, but instead to seek out fame and renown by teaching the Dharma and gathering, a big audience or many followers and a retinue is a confusion for practitioners, or this is an extreme bewilderment for practitioners.
Randon la Tonyong la Jawa Nyua Sumba Yindo Nevimba. Chirtan da Nevimba Sena so Sem Wimba Chigoya the Karchimborwa. Sem Wimba, Sem Namto Wimba. Teni Yindo to do that, Doma la Jawa Mambasi. Teni that Namba Sanjiba Chu. The Yin Donha Sergi Min Tabacha the Yore. Teni da te yindong te yin la pinya gachi to ropa majena teni ngaranzo ma nangkha de nyam simjin tamji sendu de ke tonda de dang chonggo yorwa
So then to not to have little activities of one's own and little sort of a concern for one's own purpose, or to not involve oneself in many activities and just to keep humbly to oneself in solitude. What is meant actually by a solitary place or solitude, most importantly, is referring to the solitude of the mind. To isolate the mind from the discursive thoughts and afflictive emotions, to not concern oneself with many objectives and many activities, but to just stay focused on the practice. And on the other hand, the Buddha Dharma is like medicine. And so if one has the ability to benefit others, then it is really important to do so, to benefit and help others. If one has the medicine, or by having the Dharma, then one has the means to benefit others. And so therefore, just as we always say, our intention should always be to accomplish the benefit of sentient beings, as vast as space is vast, by whatever means necessary, in whatever way we are capable.
Ninga bat longju kala chujin de matwa sena yuji norje soban hina torzo da sosola nor longju yona jikjin jiwa ngama ke sunang to ke chungwa injuri de ina ya da to so ya control chuba tamar ngin sona jimba tara go yore tena maje ne tene that so ke sena la so ba ke jing ne tena ri de na tene de trvari sonre trvar jimchin de tene de song yore sena jing ge ma de yada ne su jin ro ge sonre karsi mal jiwa jima mer mulu lang na yang wo po ji de jiwa len ro ge song yore ta ti tena yin za.
So then number 5 says, not giving in charity the wealth and excess possessions, but to amass wealth by means of greed and pretension is a mistake for a practitioner. Or alternately, not to use your excess wealth and possessions for offerings and generosity to others, but to accumulate wealth and possessions stealthily is extremely bewildered. So if one has wealth and possessions, then to understand it as the result of the ripening of merit that was accumulated in former lives, and to use that wealth skillfully as a mean to generate more merit by making offerings to the 3 jewels and by practicing generosity by giving to sentient beings. If instead, out of miserliness or greed, then one is unable to practice generosity with one's wealth in this way, then it really is a product of delusion, or it's really a confused behavior. For somebody who has a lot of miserliness, the result of that is to take rebirth as a hungry ghost. And even if they are not reborn as a hungry ghost, if they take rebirth as a human being, then in their life as a human being, they will be very poor.
Sozo tata tsendela urponda wa joy ina yang ta jiwa ngama ngarang sunam masabatine tarabu bocha ajuri san chi lemde ke lintona yabo yore yam yin ur potna thong de o korang chewa ngama jimba ma tang chuba ma je pari tin thong chong tong ya yo mare to solo nin je hlapar che go yores
So if you yourself in this life suffer from poverty or lack of wealth, then it's very important to identify that as, or to have the attitude of, oh, this is because I didn't accumulate merit in former lives, and this is the result of that. So to just to contemplate it in such a way that it increases your resolve and karma, or as real in a way that has real trust or faith in karma cause and effect, is important. However, when it comes to witnessing others who experience poverty or a lack of wealth and abundance in this life, one shouldn't have an attitude that thinks, oh, they're poor because they didn't practice generosity in their former life or in their past lives. It's sort of their own doing that now they're suffering from poverty in such a way that kind of looks down on others is definitely something that is to be avoided. So we shouldn't have that attitude towards others with regard to that.
Ninji je sena kanda jiri sena jutsu malare bak sondo nga ninji tingni jiza na song simgu tingni ninji jendu kamsum korbu simjin nam sondo kamsum simjin tamji meob nam du tsubanda sondo meob lade me ki la long so na yi me ban do ki la long so na yi chowa jen do song do ta nga chu ning je tan ra jen do ka ma do ju chu ma la re ba ning je te la ma la re ba ning je tan ra je yo ro wa nga chu da sim ji na ning je sam de nga chu ning je te ka che sri kha tan ra song ta ne ta nga chu ning je hi ra mi na ning je te hyuk che ra tang dang nga zu lin zu te ra ta dang nga pen tara de malare ba dangwar wa teni te so sem ba surjandu o ta nga ke tara ba de simjin tamji donga ge jo da trawar sho jorje lai inde chowan de jinyong de we ta ta ba ya ta chowa ji ji ne nga ke metse kan sa la mpe ni ji chimbo ji cha sungwa cha ka le khabore yin yang dongpa den dongyu ba ne ka so sem la chowa dan da ji jihen do ye o jihen mo do na ma ji be ji bar se be tab la be zung jihen do ye da da ba de so chu ba yin be wan dang na yang ngune dan sam dang go yo re ma ra zo me ji bo la pa lab de wa ma yin bar wa song za de da hi gang la kor mang bu na de chu hie zong de de wa chu tie na pion jimba na jimba chot chu ba chu ge jimba cha de yore chu hie go yore pion la sam je ma cha pa song yore san je gen don na tara zam chu mo la na song do zam chu mo la de ji po chang wa dang ne don dam lo ba yang de na bar me ba sam ma cha song do chang wa zu de mo la de la na lo zong wa zam ji pion sam je ma cha ba yo so re de don bam don na la na lo zong ce de so so ge kan dong se xian dong se dong ba zam la ya pin yong sam je ma cha ba yo ba yin na me yin la hin ji chim bu go ne sta jang chok sem ji go ne sem na par da bu go ne chu cek je hie ba la pin yong ka che yo je re bong sam de ya no de chong de yo ba de ke pin yong de sam da na yin na yang dan da yong ba la so so sam to la de cher jar ne hin je de zong ngane da ne nga ran zo chi chu mambo ji chu la gabu yore dukwe yore de tende hyandong de sundong yo bakap so tsik ji dongdang ji ne ngone chowa je wa ji mata ba yin na Tani ngarang so ke kepsang chimbo chi yu yin de malang ba na yin cha do yoro wa. Then in the yancher che lagwe. Churang tata ninji chimbo lower the chin do jiba the nyam the tin chu mase kansan ninji jing magic cha ndo go sim te cha ga mare. Jumsing kan ri sena ngarang so ke sem te danjing do kom che sung du lamsang ko ninji jing ke mase kansan ninji jing cha ya le la po yo mare. The yin ninji ki jik zang ji to ba yin na yang ko nang kha le nyama jik ma dong mo do te men ba yong zo sar to do wa. Tin na yi cha do yo re.
As Khenpo said, that actually, rather than having sort of an attitude that disparages those who are suffering from poverty or who don't have any wealth, instead to have real compassion for them. So what does compassion really look like? So it's like, for instance, Milarepa says, from the very depths of my being, when I see sentient beings of the three realms, the suffering of sentient beings of the three realms, there's like I'm engulfed with the fire, the blazing of a compassion which blazes like fire. So really, if we think about what that must feel like, as we are practicing compassion towards sentient beings, we can ask ourselves, how much compassion do we really have? And if we don't really have so much compassion, then we need to make a concerted effort to increase that capacity of compassion, to really cause it to develop and increase. And that is, so like the fifth instruction from Milarepa, really letting that kind of penetrate our mind, to really take it in and let it work on our mind stream in such a way that we feel inspired to really generate a quality of compassion in whatever opportunity that we have, in which we can't, that presents itself to enable compassion to develop. So when we read, for instance, the prayer of the four immeasurables, and we say, may all sentient beings, boundless as the sky, be separated from suffering and the causes of suffering. How much feeling is there when we read that line, when we read the lines of the four immeasurables? Are we just reciting them, or is there really an actual feeling that arises when we say those words? So to become someone who has really, truly great compassion, to be really developed, a fully developed being, a compassionate being, would be difficult, that we're maybe a far way off from that. However, we can increase our compassion moment by moment. So great compassion is compassion like an ongoing, ever-present state of compassion that doesn't come and go. So in our case, it's unlikely that is our experience. But we can apply methods to cause compassion to arise in moments and increase those moments in which compassion does arise in such a way that we're really feeling that compassion arise, so that it really is something that is experienced as something that arises from the depths of our being. So as it says, for instance, in the former verse, there's the advice to avoid, going about and teaching the Dharma in crowds or in the midst of gatherings without having really developed the Dharma qualities within oneself, without really focusing on developing the qualities for Dharma within one's own experience. However, the generosity of Dharma is incredibly beneficial. And just as said, among all of the types of generosity, the generosity of Dharma is really the most supreme. And so also in the King of Aspiration prayers, in the long version of the King of Aspiration prayers, as it says to even just to have a connection with that prayer, to have to see it or to make a contact with it, and especially to recite the words, has inconceivably vast benefit. And so when we recite prayers like the King of Aspiration prayer, when we recite prayers of compassion, even if we don't have, really fully developed great compassion, at least to be conscious of the words that we are reciting while we recite them in such a way that we are generating those mind states is really inconceivably beneficial. There's inconceivably great benefit in doing so. And so when we do recitations, it is a really great practice to recite in such a way that the feelings are being generated by the words that are coming out of our mouth. If, on the other hand, we do recitations or we recite the words, but we're not really conscious of what we're saying, or we're not generating the feeling, then we're not actually taking, we're not really taking we're not getting as much as we can out of the experience. We're not like taking the full profit that's actually available to us. So it's like, not reaping the benefit or the interest that can be there if we do actually recite in such a way that we're aware of what we're saying and we're allowing it to actually, those mind states to actually be generated within as we recite the words. So we do have this ability at this point in our practice to have some temporary moments of compassion arise. We can give rise to compassion in moments, but because we have a very strong habit of self-grasping, then we always, those moments are temporary, and we fall once again into attitudes of self-clinging. But the more that we do actively generate those moments of compassion, the more consistent they will become, and the more a propensity for compassion will develop. And eventually that then develops into great compassion.
Ta trukpa tamsik domba tsuryi musoma gosam pami charwar tongwan hinra. Da domba som sotar jangsen sanga go domba tamsik duzo tsuryin songo yore. Da dana tsuryin masong ne da ngarang so gosam pami de hyorsoma ina. Dene de hinda no churchin bori song. Da ngarang so jamri domba ni dene ngarang so la domba yod sare. Then 장초 성도 동바때 다 제당께 다 장초 성도 동바때 ngaranso top lelala yang nyamyang lela boyor deta kantar top lela bijumsin latine ngaranso chama la chanchu simba domba nga tsama ka hyo yore 다 장초 선배 동바티 현도 당 소소 답 동바티 문에베 나 란동라오지 차대요리 장초 선배 동바티 인동 차대요로와 대 장초 선배 동바티 강타야 당가랑 참마라 장초 선배 상하 소상하 저거 동바 효효요리 다도서 송 마송 히바데 타르톤드 셈라라레디요레 샨디 대와가 송나 셈송 또육 셈송야 또육 마도베 또육 망부 제킥자 송하나 인게 다조 셈라라레디요르바 다나 인게 Gampopa sro yiji domba lekpana tamche ten domba lek songre domba tamche ke tsawate semlara le do yoba o ten songre
So shiwe lagi simsung dushu machatna tenigare
sung tur yuk ma to pas machana marida
matokpa oh okay
Samsung ya ke
matokna
chutram jing do Samsung ya chutram te ma to ba ke da chutram yinda je lu nga ke hu chutram song do se ne hu yong ge ma re se sem ke song to wa na te lu nga ke song to ko yo Samsung tur yung ma to tur yung mang ki che ki sa so check to so han sa ya ke nan don teng sa bo
So and then number 6 says not guarding the samayas and vows properly, but to misutilize the 3 entrances of body, speech, and mind to moksha and worthless works is a mistake for a practitioner. Or an alternate reading is not to guard whatever vows and samayas you have undertaken, but to let your body, speech, and mind run wild is extremely bewildered. So this then is referring to the 3 levels of vows, the vows of individual liberation, the bodhisattva vows, and the vows of secret mantra. And so to uphold and protect those 3 levels of vows by guarding the activities of the 3 doors is important. If one doesn't guard the 3 doors, but instead falls into heedless conduct of the 3 doors, then this is very mistaken for the practitioner. So from the time that one takes the vows of refuge through the vows of bodhicitta and the vows of secret mantra, so actually in one sense the vows have become easier to receive and to maintain or to correct, I think. So generally speaking, we have all received the bodhicitta vows are easy to receive, or maybe they're easy to receive, but maybe not so easy to maintain. So we've all taken the bodhisattva vows. We've all taken the vows of individual liberation by taking at least the vows of refuge. And we have all entered into secret mantra commitments through taking empowerments and such. And so whether or not any of these levels of vows are maintained really comes down first and foremost to the mind, to protecting and upholding the vows at the level of mind. So as Shantideva says, realize the discipline or the proper conduct of the mind without realizing the proper conduct of the mind, what benefit is there in struggling or striving to maintain the other levels of conduct? So first and foremost, it is necessary to establish proper conduct from the door of the mind, and when that occurs, then all of the body and speech, the conduct of body and speech, naturally follows. If one doesn't have ethical discipline from within one's attitude, if within one's attitude and mind one doesn't practice ethical discipline, then there simply will not be ethical discipline with body and speech. Likewise, Nagarjuna says to excellently uphold the vows, or whether or not one is able to hold the vows well, depends upon holding them well from the or it depends upon protecting one's own mind. So if we are able to protect the mind, first and foremost, this is the most important. In order for the vows to be upheld in body and speech, first one has to be holding them well within one's mind.
Katse karchimbo imba rong ni xuai rong tong tong ni hyogoe
Oh, okay. So Khenpo says to illustrate the importance of bodhicitta, there are two stories. Should he tell them? Should he share them with us? They're really short stories.
Tambote hema lama ji yoris. Te kong lo loma ga he yosare. De loma de so ma kong da ka chu de so nang loma de da loma jong ro jang. Teni ji ne da loma de so ya bo cha cha de korang so su su pai la pa pep song sa ro ba. Person da te gang da tura ma bo ke ja re da. Te gang te khapar tang de so ken te wa yo ma ba. Teni moda tang langkor de so ken de wa yo ma ba. Bu ni re da kan da. Teni ti kong loma yo sa ke longba nang tini magic len yong ris. Tara lama tin dun la. Ten lama te ke ja tiris. Loma che ke main zone ro main zone ne. Loma te ke kare chi do ke ja ti ma te ke. Loma te ke gom jang ja de kha huris. Ten lama te ko pe ya bori sonris. Teni lama te ke loma yinda je ke main zone. Te ke karen ji do huris. Kong ke da ka chu jang hin do sonris. Huris. Pe ya bori sonris. Teni loma yimba che ke main zone ris. Tek kare chi do sonris. Ta tek ya bo ja chi mo do hiris. Ta tek ya bo kare chi mo do hiris. Ta tek zin yo zin tu lo ta ka konya zin do. Zin go cher chi ro go cher tam ngoren do de ngon do hiris. Ta par ngon do hiris. Teni lama tek teni thermos chani thermojarne japsin che song kone gloma rida kone gloma la japsin che chang chok sem ju le ji ore songs kanado jong tik der
So that's So the first story is that so there was a Lama who had a number of disciples who spent a good deal of time, studying and practicing with him, and they received many instructions and engaged in a great deal of practice. And then after they had really, practiced well and had really improved in their practice and become quite developed as spiritual practitioners, they returned to their homeland, their own region. And of course, this was, many years ago, maybe hundreds of years ago. So there weren't any cars, there weren't any telephones. And so one day, someone who was from the same region of these three of his students visited the monastery. They visited the Lama. And the Lama asked him about his disciples. So he asked him, how is so-and-so doing? And he said that his name. And how is this disciple of mine doing? Tell me, what is he up to these days? And the visitor responded saying, he just meditates all the time, day and night. He seems to be, he's just meditating. And the Lama said, that's really good. That's really wonderful. And then he said, how is this other one doing? And he said his name, how is so-and-so doing? What is he up to? And the visitor responded saying, he's always teaching. He's always teaching the Dharma. And so then the Lama said, that's really good. That's really wonderful. And then he said, well, how is so-and-so doing? And he mentioned the name of the other disciple. And then the visitor responded and said, he's not so good. He's really not doing very well. And the Lama said, why? What to explain? What is he up to? What is he doing? And the visitor said, he just covers his head with his Zen, with his Dharma robe, and just cries all day. And then at that moment, the Lama folded his hand in prayer, in the gesture of prayer, and said, Kyapsuchi, I take refuge, and he was so deeply moved because he said, that is that student of mine has really given rise to bodhicitta. Bodhicitta has really been born in his mind stream.
Ta dong yin ba de jo la khon la lama jo ge song re khon la lama wang da dang wa ma bo hyu sa ge lama ni she sak je yin chi yu song re lama ni ge sak je yin chi yu si yin na ya khon la jiang chuk sem timbu semna la ta kong king ban ro jong ho ro jira king jong na ha jira kandar janchuk sem timbu jik semna la ya ji wa te su ka din re jo selling ba ka din so tenda yin za jo selling ba de ngai zab la ma yin so re kandan do janchuk sem zo ta tenda ke janchuk sem ko ren thang ha ko janchuk sem la droa ta nyam nyong ji tenda jong de wa tham je la ke ta janchuk sem ko ren thang ha ko yo re de nga so ta janchuk sem lab de na ya cho je ma ta ba te ren thang ha mo ti nyam nyong da wa de ma thab na de ne de ka nga tin chen go ro
So the other story is actually a story about Atisha. So Atisha said, I have received many profound pith instructions from 21 great lamas or great teachers. However, the one who is responsible for this seed, or even just sort of the smallest flickering of a bodhicitta arising in my mind, is Joel Serlingpa. So it is because of Joel Serlingpa's kindness that even the smallest flicker of bodhicitta has arisen in my mind. And so for that reason, he is my root guru. And so this illustrates just how precious the mind of bodhicitta is. When we really understand, how priceless, how very precious it is, then we really relish and delight in the practice. So we always talk about bodhicitta. We say bodhicitta, bodhicitta. Very frequently it is spoken of. But if we don't really feel the impact of bodhicitta, if we don't, really give rise to the feeling or feel what that means, then we won't really understand how invaluable it really is. So if we don't give rise, if we don't really truly deeply understand the value, then it will be difficult to really to really develop and experience.
Tatere Wang Hu Dangwa Mangpo Hu Ba Yin Yang Ta So La Simnang La Jiangqiu Sim Timbu Jin Yong Ba De Za Qie Wa De Ha Guo Ya De Deni Guo Jiangqiu Sim Na Ngi Hi Ni La Ya De Rin Do De Bi Jin Sin Ke De Rin Tang De Ha Guo Yo Ro
Zhang Sim Ni Shi Ni
Ngi Hi Jie Zi De Da Garland La Guo Da Jiangqiu Sim La Ding Da Wo Ji Tam Na Jiangqiu Sim
certainty. Ding ne. Yin yang ni de danga ni yo samarwa.
Ni mari da ni. Ni hi.
Ni, that's all.
Ju ning ne ju la ji la ro ro da.
So, as we have all received many empowerments and received many pith instructions, but when there is any direct arising of the experience of bodhicitta, if even just the smallest flicker of bodhicitta has arisen in our mind, in that experience there is real certainty, there's definite understanding and real certainty that arises. And from that direct experience, we know how truly priceless and valuable it really is.
Ne lok to po ton la komdrim mi ji par me che ton chong ke jap ji pare chre la se par chi pa ne hin don ta ne lok to po ton la kom che don na ne lok se de ta war wa ta to po ton la gom go yori gom ya gnin bo te gom go yori se ma bo hyu yor wa Ta tendal me zum me ji par teni tonda chang chung ala teni karchi ni de zene tenda che de na teni de ta chuba che gong ni sta andu de notary so.
So then number 7 says, not oneself realizing the true nature of things and practicing it, to use up this life only for material benefit is a mistake for a practitioner. Or an alternate reading would be not to devote your time and energy to gradual familiarization with the true meaning that is to be realized through practice, but to waste your life in meaningless social or political activities is extremely bewildered. So here the meaning, the true meaning that is being referred to, or the true nature, is the true nature of the mind, or the true nature of reality. It is referring to the view. So in order to really realize the view, one has to meditate. So this ultimate meaning, the true nature of the ultimate meaning, it can only really be realized through meditation. So to not build one's familiarization through a dedicated practice and meditation, but instead to waste one's time in meaningless distractions, as mentioned here, is a mistake for Dharma practitioners.
Jebate Truba Lanjin Jeranju Matoba Mugu Jipi Yinjun Dran Hindu Torso Nandikaps Sosok Dinzin Ante Jipumbo Ante Jishimba Tambo Te Torgo Yuris Te Matobala Yin Simjinki Yinjun Dora Chibet Ten Dortogonariso Tena yin zang susu ke dinzin truwa marik bate ndertang de kare sena tambo dinzin ante de nguzong tusam chen ha kwarji teni da gombe nyamsulin ne teni dinzin ante de dara ngarang so 차자 침복의 민가 탐진은 숨바나 인게 딘지 안테 때네 최 차름 답에 차도 요바리스 데니 다테 쇼고요나 양나 님우르틴 둘틴 고요레 양무나 촐틴 고요레 님 두답테 잠닌지 장초그 셈데 차도 요레 Chode Dami to be hirapte chona yichada yore. Tenda yenza da drew the chuni latin drew down chuni latin the dancing charam to hyogo yore. Tati dancing charam to hyoyona oh tenita karere ngaranzo dachi tsendala medewa tang munduba Yongzu zobate Junkongde Dadan Ziba Danzi Dinzi Ante Controba Telechada Yor Te Chada Yori Teke Teni Ta Madewa Mayewa Kantar Numon Kinsini Terwa Ranju Lachipa Zamje the Mayewa Tang Mayewa Ta Hiwa Deva Madurwa Madewa Tendachi Yonga Keta Numon Badinzi Ante Te Chada Yori Tate Torgo Yori Te Torne Teni Mugu Ying Semten Darna Tateko Koram Dotang Rawatoni Tandasung Yura.
So then number 8 says not controlling one's own fickle-mindedness, but foolishly trying to control others is a mistake for a practitioner. Or alternate would be not to tame your own mind or to transcend the confusion that arises in your own experience, but rashly attempting to tame the minds of others is extremely bewildered or a state of confusion. So first, to be capable of guiding others in such a way as one can help to tame the minds of others, one first has to fully overcome the fixation and grasping or the perception of true existence and self-grasping in one's own mind streams. so to overcome the grasping of the aggregates and so forth. In order to be, as long as that does not occur, then one is really incapable of pacifying or taming the minds of others. And so the delusion of grasping to the true existence of things, the existence of self and others, is based on ignorance. And so first one has to recognize the delusion, the proliferating delusion of one's own mind stream through meditation. And as is said in the Mahamudra Pith instructions, it is like ice and water, like an ice cube or a block of ice and water. There are only two things that can melt an ice cube, or that can melt the ice. It is either warmth, so the warmth of the sun, of sunlight, or water itself. And so the warmth of sunlight is referring to bodhicitta. And the water is referring to the wisdom that realizes the truth of selflessness. So one can undo the delusion and grasping of one's own mind either through bodhicitta, which is like the warmth of the sun, or through the wisdom that realizes selflessness, which is like the example of water here. And in any case, then when the ice melts, it is through the melting of the ice. This is the example for the melting away of self-grasping, the mind of self-clinging or self-grasping. And once self-grasping has melted away, then all of the dissatisfaction of this life, the suffering and lack of well-being, the whole has been thoroughly dissolved or just lifted. It's fully cleared away because the source of that dissatisfaction and suffering has been annihilated or has been dissolved. It has melted away. And so the characteristics of grasping, the self-grasping, which then manifests as the two types of grasping itself and the true existence of self and others, and all of the afflicted mind states, the defilements and afflictive emotions that are the characteristics of that characterize self-grasping, have been cleared away. If the root of self-clinging is cleared away, then likewise all of the attributes of self-grasping, which are suffering, which manifest in the various forms of suffering, are likewise cleared away. But if one has not cleared away the grasping of self-clinging, then one does not ever feel really a true sense of peace. One's mind is never completely tamed, and unhappiness and dissatisfaction are never really fully overcome until that fundamental cause or that root of suffering, as the twofold mind of self-grasping is pacified or is fully tamed. And once that is fully tamed, then one is in a position to benefit others through taming activity.
Teni ngaran so ki yin la pinta ya ke janchok sem nyalin chi ya lalin chi ya ke langa ni kapso te nor ni gamare perna tambo so karma ko zamla u tabachi ina 대저 대감상 멤버지 세거와 teni yarjen do de dabu chamcha dabu ke korang paboke mambaji segerwa teni te yarjen do de nyemo bu chamcha na teni mamba yons to ba sertawa ta te tabena lanla rimji ba ben rogo yorwa
to not become confused with aspirations of benefiting others through taming the mind streams of beings, so fully taming one's own mind first, then one becomes capable of truly benefiting others by taming the mind streams of beings, and this is accomplished or is achieved through the wish to the aspiration to benefit others. It is the activity of bodhicitta, but one should not become confused about one's capacity or ability to actually do this. So there can be some degree of development throughout the stages of the path, but it is continually strengthened as one progresses. So first there is like the light of the stars, which is experienced is really some extraordinary level of light, but then that develops further, and it becomes like the moonlight of the moon, or the beams and rays of moonlight, and then that eventually develops into the very powerful rays of the sun, and it isn't until there's like the fully developed rays of the sun that then there's the ability to fully illuminate or fully clear away the darkness. So it is something that is built upon or developed little by little in progressive stages.
Thank you very much. May every being ailing with disease be freed at once from every malady. May all sickness that afflicts the living be instantly and permanently healed. O simji ne ba je ne ba nir de ne le ta je je ro ba ne na ma le ta den jong wa me ba jo ba ma simji dam je de dan den ju je ngin ro dam je da de dong wa chanchu sompa kanda sayo pa te ta kunja ma lan ro pa jo chanchu senjo rambo je ma je pa nan ji je ji ba nyam ba me ba yang kong ne kong de be wa jo